Folks, we spoke yesterday about the divine presence. The Shekhinah is the term that we're using, or term from the Talmud actually. And it means the presence, undiluted presence of God, not the essence of God, and not how God is found in everything in creation in a very concealed manner, but where he's manifest. Where is that manifestation? So we explained in the first Holy Temple, it was in the Holy of Holies, and there expressively in the Ten Commandments, that was in the Ark of the Covenant. The Ten Commandments encapsulates the entire Torah. The entire Torah. Okay, folks. All right, for those who don't have sound, then maybe go out and come back in. Close it and then go back in, because most of you do have sound. So perhaps that's part of the problem. In any case, so it was in the Ten Commandments that encapsulates the entire Torah, the divine wisdom and will of God. And it was the divine expression in this world, the divine revelation. And it was an expression in Kabbalistic teachings of Malchus, of the world of Bria, the world of creation, the first world of creation, a spiritual world. And as such, it did not evolve into this world as everything does, that is garbed by the forces of nature. It's beyond nature. And therefore, it was miraculous in the fact that you could read it from one side, the other side, engraved words through and through, and yet on both, there was no backside to the tablets, and that the letters Samach and Mem were held up miraculously, not under the rule of nature, which includes gravity. That was the first Holy Temple. When it was destroyed, as the Alter Rebbe explains today, the second temple didn't have the tablets. It was missing. Yet there was a Holy of Holies. So the Alter Rebbe explains that the presence of God was still there, even though the Talmud says the Shekhinah no longer, the presence wasn't there, the Talmud says. That means to say that the level as it was in the first Holy Temple, the divine presence was not on such a manner, such an expression of Malchus, royalty, the 10th divine attribute, we've explained in the past at great length, that level was expressed in this world. So what level was expressed? So we know we have three created worlds: spiritual world, Bria. Then Malchus of Bria vested itself in the Holy of Holies, and then in the Malchus of Yetzirah, the world of formation. And from the world of formation, Malchus, sovereignty, vested itself in the Holy of Holies, which is the Chabad, the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, the divine intelligence, in the world of Asiya, the world of action, in the spiritual world. And from there, it vested itself directly in the Holy of Holies in the second Holy Temple. And it was an expression of that level of divinity. Okay, sounds, a nice exercise in Hasidic geography. What does that mean? What is that? It means like this. Everything in creation is, as we have explained, an orderly, progressive, or degressive from a higher level of divine revelation to a lower and lower concealment, garments that are concealing the divine light, so much so that when it comes into this physical world, it's completely concealed. And we'll explain in a moment a little more what that means. Here, the Holy of Holies in the second Holy Temple, even though the tablets weren't there, the manifestation of godliness was as such that it was beyond the nature of this world. And therefore, it was still an awe-inspiring experience of godliness in the Holy Temple, even though the tablets were no longer in the Holy of Holies in the second temple. Okay, from there the Alter Rebbe now explains to us today what has happened since the destruction of the Holy Temple, which is almost 2,000 years ago. In the year 69 of the Common Era, the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed. So no longer is a divine presence in the Holy Temple. So where is it? Is it gone? It's still here. As the sages say in the Talmud, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, which means holy beyond transcendent. That's the concept of holy. And blessed means, as it's blessed, means it's drawn down into this world. So the presence of God that is transcendent and is drawn down into this world is now found, you know where? In what we're doing right now, in Torah. Specifically in Jewish law, adjudicating the will of God, the will and wisdom of God. But this is also the will of God. Oh boy. I see several people saying that they do not have sound. Okay, many do. All right. Okay, I think Deanna just gave some indication on what you could do. If you're on the accessing Chabad.org site, look for the speaker icon to make sure it is on and turned up. You can also click on the video to open it fully, see if that works. Or try on the computer and not on the phone. Okay, so it's something about your settings. It seems to be. So now the divine presence is in the 4 cubits in the teachings of the Torah. What we're doing right now. This is where God is, His presence. Now, what does that mean exactly? How do we understand that? In the second Holy Temple, the presence of God is an expression of Chabad, of the world of Asiya. And it did not clothe itself into, even Malchus of Asiya, directly into the Holy of Holies and the physical of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. Torah teachings today is further vested in Malchus of Asiya, but there's one distinction. And this is something we've learned in the past at great length. Where is all of the material world? Where is it vested? And how does it get its vitality? Of course, everything comes from God. The question is, of course, in what manner does it come from God? So everything in this physical world comes from kelipah, a shell that covers over. And that's what makes it so concealed and makes nature's force, which is God's force in nature, the creating nature, dominate the material of this world. Torah and mitzvahs, though, does not go through kelipah, does not go through the shell that covers over on the presence of God. Even though it is still the same physical manifestation in this world of a physical thing, but it's not under the domain of kelipah, of this shell that is now the power of nature that controls it. It is the power of God that's there. Even though the vestiture is further, but it's not concealing. And therefore the presence of God is in the Torah that we study, in the mitzvahs that we do. God is present there. And that's why most mitzvahs are all mitzvahs just about, are done in a physical manifestation. Because God's presence is in the physical world, in the physical act of the mitzvah. So even when it comes to prayer, even though it's about the heart, yet we need to pronounce the words. We need to verbalize the words. It cannot be merely something in the heart. You need to verbalize it. When it comes to Torah study, ultimately, we also have to verbalize at least some of our Torah study to have the mitzvah of study of Torah. So we say the Mishnah, the morning blessings, we verbalize that. We fulfill it minimally then. So that's where God's presence is. Folks, right now, we're studying Tanya. And because of this study, we are learning the will of God in what we've just expressed. The presence of God is there with us, encompassing us in our study right now. More on that to come tomorrow on how this all sums up, and we'll have the siyum, the finale of our studies tomorrow. Folks, please look into your settings so that we won't have a problem with the audio. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from my home in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a wonderful day.